Welcome everybody. Today is day 371 and today's topic could come off as wrong based on the thumbnail or sorry whatever the topic. I feel like giving up, not in a sense that I'm gonna end up my life and end my life. That shit is dumb. I probably not do that, at least consciously. Anyways, I don't know, like whenever I try to use like headlines. Let's say headlines like these. It could come off as wrong way and it could go viral. It's everybody thinks this way. What if I use this specific hook and I go viral? Like going viral is really, it's good for you, right? Like you should better go viral. But we're shocked. We don't want to go viral. Anyways, like I maybe we don't want more people to find out. Maybe we don't want our friends to find out so that they don't make fun of us. Anyways, whatever unconscious decisions that's stopping us from doing that. Today's topic is I feel like giving up. I feel so down bad when, like, given my circumstances, I had to look at things emotionally and rationally yesterday. Like whatever am I doing? Like, am I doing the right way? Yes, it's not just about cluelessness. It's about losing the fire, the motivation that you once had to start working on these things, right? I really hope I don't go too off topic. I generally do. I don't have a script to structure on this video as always. I just like to spit my raw thoughts. Maybe that's the reason I haven't even gotten any subscriber or moved forward in this specific space. Getting more views on my channel because my videos don't get any views. But maybe the reason is I'm not innovating. I'm not trying to make my videos better than what it was last time. Now I've started to realize the difference. How you could make your videos better. I could just give it a good structure. Talk about this specific thing at a time, and like record in a noise free environment, or have good camera quality or good audio quality, stuff like that, right? And good thumbnails, whatever. Like those are the things you'd focus on if you're growing your YouTube channel. I don't actually like care about it, and I don't want it to feel like a work. Right now, I love yapping. Turn on my camera, yeah, start yapping to the camera and give some sauce, occasional sauce here and there. But today's like topic is about like giving up. I feel like the niche, the business model I'm in, I don't think like that's working, or maybe that's it does. Every business model work. It's up to you to make it work. But as I'm saying, like this is just my emotional take. This is what I'm feeling at the moment. I see all of these guys on Twitter. I'm just gonna tell you what I feel, and we're gonna dig deep on the rational side. Okay, like why am I feeling what I'm feeling, and why I'm thinking what I'm thinking. But first, let's go over what I'm feeling. Like as I said, I'm feeling like giving up. It does not mean just because you feel like giving up, you have to give up. That's a spoiler. Yes, I'm gonna continue, but like well, what do I say? Losing this fire inside of you and fire in your belly. Maybe I can reignite it. Maybe I don't know. But let's talk about it. So it's been a year since I've been in business, and people make a lot of more progress than I have in a year. They at least make close to 5 10K. They probably would have made 3K or 5K. They would probably start making around 3K, 5K, or 2K per month at bare minimum. I'm talking bare minimum. Now most of these, like the generalization that I've just made, it only works. We've seen that work for first world folks, right? From Portugal. Oh, sorry. Why did Portugal come in the first? Anyways, like America, we're talking Europe, Britain, places like those, right? You see guys from there, they're killing it. They print a lot faster. Then some of them start making 10K per month by the end of the year. So I mean, in 6, 8, 12 months, and there are exceptions, right? There are guys from other areas who have been underprivileged but still manage to hit those good numbers. And I see a lot of those. What the fuck? I see a lot of those guys on Twitter, and I feel like I'm so behind. Like, what the fuck was I doing? I put in so much effort. I tried to do everything on the plan, everything I could. Right, I could get my hands on every outreach strategy, every stuff. and I still didn't get any results. I feel entitled to that. Yes, I'm not gonna lie. I feel like, despite putting all this effort, why have I not gotten any results? I should, I deserve this. But again, like I've always grew up. Let's say I started my business watching business. I wouldn't call it business, but just online gigs. Start watching Charlie Morgan, and he talks about how there's he talks about Charlie Munger, his, and one of quotes his like Charlie Munger is a different guy, but Charlie Morgan talks about it. Is that the world hasn't been, I forgot, I'm probably gonna butcher. The world isn't a crazy enough place to give a bunch of undeserving people what they don't deserve. And I feel like, how much should you do to deserve this? Like how much should you give into it? Like I've given my heart and soul into it. I've probably done that. I've tried my best. And like, is it that hard? Should it be that hard to at least make 3K to 5K per month? That's not, I'm not actually like, I am given my circumstances, like, but that's a lot of money for me, and then I would have a gradual, like, significant change in life, my quality of life compared to my specific, compared, not compared, but given my circumstances, because I'm from a third world country, and even the what money I'm making right now, which is merely $500 a month, is a lot if you look at it in my sense. But that's still not enough. I have my own situations. I have a need for money in my own specific, and I don't think I've reached that point yet. And that's the emotional part. Like I feel like I've emotional perspective. I feel like put in a lot of effort, a lot. I've done all sorts of outreach. I've done all the tactics, principles, practice. I try to make my service better, and all like I've done all that, man. I've tried making content. I've tried outreach. I all sorts of stuff, right? And this delay of success, or this delay of reward, is makes you insane. If you're like constantly working on something, but you don't see any fruit, the comment come, any of it come into fruition. You don't see how you're progressing forward, because the only way to know that you're progressing forward is to make more money, right? In simple terms, the only way to know if you're progressing forward is having good feedback on whatever system you're working on, right? For example, if you're working out consistently, you'd see your body feel, you feel more energetic, you'll see your body, you feel yourself, what do you call it, your body starts forming good proportions, and you start looking good, better. Your, what do you call it, your face gets more chiseled, so you cut the fat down, people start respecting more, I guess. I don't know. I don't know about that part. But stuff like that, right? You are getting active feedback from the system. But same in case of business, like you should be getting active feedback from the business. But I haven't. And that's the hardest part. When you're not seeing any feedback or not seeing any result, you don't feel like putting in, because it hasn't made you any profitable, and it shouldn't be that this fucking hard to make 3K, 4K, 5K per month. And I feel like I deserve it at this point, but again, I'd have to humble myself and accept whatever the fact that has been presented upon me, and try to make the best use of whatever resources I have and overcome this specific situation. Now, to look at things from a rational way, let's look at things from a rational way. Okay, I did 2,000 outreaches. How were they? Like, what did you say? Okay, I said that, I said that I'd write a landing page for you and increase the conversion rate by 10%, and you only pay me. I don't know, whatever the offer was. My offer was too complex. You can say it, right? Even I don't know. I tried to do the volume approach. I tried to do the quality approach. Oh shit! I tried to do the quality approach, but didn't succeed either. And but like when I think about it, like what did I actually do? I was constantly attaching links and using spam words that I shouldn't have, which I only understood later that you shouldn't be using stuff like these, and Gmail just flags you as spam, and meaning like all the outreaches I was sending, all of them are going to spam, most of them. Like I didn't know about all this. So there's one fact, right? Next is your offer wasn't clear. You were not providing what you needed, and I guess I did the whole quality thing. I made free work and sent it over. But was that actually implementable for them? What I was doing was writing. If you don't know, if anybody's watching this, don't know what I do. I started with copywriting. Copywriting was just turning words into sales, right? I was writing copy for the sales pages, but I was like sending it to online personalities, right? Online coaches, online whatever people like them. How are they using it? Think about it. I write a copy and send it over. Now they have to like see if the copy makes sense and I haven't lied. And next thing they have to check, they have to like put it into, turn it into a website and turn it into a web format so that you can actually launch it and put it on your bio, make it like look attractive and shit, and make it like good design. So you see all of this work, they'd have to do that. And my contribution in all of it is close to, does not amount much, right? It's just not a good fit, meaning the product market fit. Yes, I did the free work, I sent it over, but however, what happened was it just wasn't implementable, even if they were good or not. And you see, like I just didn't know what they needed, right? I didn't look into what they needed. I just thought that they might need sales letters because that's what I learned. Now, a crucial point in this, and wait, before that, let's talk about another stuff. What I did was next was, I learned more books, right? I just summarized everything that I've learned and given them and poured all of the things and lessons that I've personally like my from my experience that I've learned and poured it into all of it into a Google Doc, and I started sending that over. Some people liked it and I got on a call with one guy, but I tried to pitch a service of 1.5K, which wasn't that good, uh, which shouldn't have been because that it probably wasn't worth 1.5K and he probably didn't have that amount of money. Fuck. I just didn't know about all of this stuff. So number one, my emails weren't getting delivered. Number two, I was even if I was doing free work, it wasn't valuable enough for them to like actually act upon. And even if there are emails, like how would that wouldn't make any sense because they didn't most of them didn't even have an email list. And there was no strategy. There was no clear cut strategy I had for them that they can start implementing today and then incorporate the works that I did into their funnels. So all in all, it wasn't effective at all. But I wouldn't have learned all this stuff if I didn't fail. And if I start, cursing myself and what do you call it? Start. I don't have a lack of word. Start for whatever. Like if I start making myself look bad or disrespect myself or do not be grateful for the actions that I took, I wouldn't have learned all of this stuff, right? Like I should be grateful that I now know what I shouldn't have done. Next thing is, yeah, the one that I was going to talk about is I, I as with everybody who starts in business, you'd probably watch one guru who you think is a really authentic and really feels like relate to them and you start with the online business. To me that was Charlie Morgan. And yeah, when you start building a parasocial relationship with somebody, not relationship, just like a parasocial bond, right? You're watching his video, you trust him, he makes a lot of sense and he was in a similar position as you, and like he got there. So you expect to expect that the whatever suggestions they make in terms of businesses would be really valuable for you and are is the way you should be doing. Now what he recommended was do high volume outreaches, right? He was in the SMMA when he was starting out. He was in the SMMA space, lead gen. He was doing lead gen for gym owners, right? uh, basically running ads for business like gym owners. Now that is a separate business, and what I was doing was a separate business. I was doing copywriting for coaches, right, which is a very saturated and competitive space in itself. I was writing copies for coaches and consultants. I don't even know what the fuck consultants were, but that's what I was doing, right? I was writing for the online brands, personas, creators with a lot of followers, and both of them are not the same. The creators comparatively have huge ego than normal business owners or gym owners, right? And look at the acquisition part, like how do you acquire the traffic? What do you do in terms of gym owners? You either cold email them or cold call their businesses, and then you ask them to hop on a meeting. You say that you have a good strategy in mind, and this can make you more this can get you more gym members and stuff like that, and you just get them on the call, right? There's not much to work on, not much to give free value upon, because they already probably don't even have a website, and you don't even know what their services and offerings are, right? You don't have access to the testimonials and whatnot, stuff like that. So it just does not make sense, and the volume approach really makes sense in this SMM lead gen service. But because I follow Charlie Morgan and I really respected him, I try to implement that into what I did, which was a really bad idea, really fucking bad idea, because these creators are easily like out, e.g. these creators like are easily accessible for you, right? If they're easily accessible for you, they're probably easily accessible to others. To build a list of business owners or gym owners, you could just pay for a list, 97 to 97 bucks, and you'd have a good list of the good list of business owners, and you could just start cold email them with a good cold email infrastructure, and just start cold emailing or just start cold calling. 100, 200, 300, 400 a day would make sense. However, this is a different game. You don't have easy access to them. You can just buy a 10,000 list of business owners and you can start cold emailing them. But you don't have a, you can, it's really hard. There are hardly any services out there where you can buy like influencers, certain type like influencers, data. It's really hard. Um, and even if there, I now know that there are, and I know some of them, which provide influencer data as well, but I didn't know all of it back then. And even if I did, I didn't have any money, and then I didn't have any international payment set up to buy stuff like these. So I had to do the manual approach. I had to manually search up on Instagram, go through their funnel, see if they're actually legit, and then I start doing stuff like that. Start reaching out and see what happens when you try to do cold outreach on that. You're gonna get left behind. Like if you're doing dumb, like mindless outreach, just volume, it does not make sense. You're gonna get left behind because these creators have already heard it all. They do not need your service because you will sound just like every other guy in their email inboxes or the DMs. Nothing new. And I didn't realize this thing back then. So there's like three things really dragging me down. One is the deliverability. One is the cluelessness that I have about this space. I don't even know what they needed. I wasn't able to go through the funnel and actually see what they needed, the services that I needed, and the ones that I needed, I provided were not good enough. So I had to find an alternative. Number three, my offer was trash as fuck. I was not trying to sell a front end product, a lead product that would actually make sense for them. And last but not the least, I was burning out my list. It was already pretty hard to find these guys. And if you just do volume, you're just gonna burn through your list so fucking fast that you won't have any time to, improve your services or try to be better in what you do, or just you're burning out through your list. Like what happens when once you like reach out to the 1K or 2K people? It's really hard. You'd have to find another thousand, which was really fucking hard because I had already reached out to their followers and the friends, their friends. I try to do everything my best. I try to use the keywords and stuff like that. And like all of a sudden, I realized that the one niche thing isn't even that good for my, like it does not apply to my stuff. And it was too late. It got it took me too long to realize all of this. Now that I know, I shouldn't. If you're in a creator based space, just don't do the volume approach. No, fuck that. You have to do the quality approach. Send one, two, three, four, 5 day, but 5 a day, but really make it really valuable. Okay, and you just have to do that because business owners are only gonna trust guys who show competence, and the only way to show competence is to send them a Loom or a YouTube video, or just send them stuff that are actually valuable for them and that you would actually ask money for. And sometimes you have to realize that what you provide isn't good and you need to package it in a completely different way so that the cold traffic buys it, right? You need to be willing to make switches. One thing I learned from Daniel Fazio from one of his newsletters is that you're scaling the shit that you're scaling shit that does not work. And that is exactly, when I look back now in retrospect, that is exactly what I did. I tried to scale shit that wasn't working. I tried to scale offers. Like if it was like you're not getting any replies on your emails, like why the fuck are you scaling it? Like why the fuck are you doing more? It's not that you're gonna get rewarded for your hard work, right? Why would you burn through your list just for that and build a bad reputation for yourself? You shouldn't be doing all that stuff. Just do best, like do free work and just send it over. Do free work, send it over. Find 100 guys whose content you actually love doing and who you actually want to work with, because the guy I started working with, I sent him follow-ups for 30 plus follow-ups over 5 months to land him, and I all really wanted to work with him. I didn't actually like feel like working with any other creator outreach, even all five, like 1,000, 1,500 of them, as much as I did with the current creator I am with. And this is what I love when Pierre Corey talked about this. Pierre, and I just it just clicked because any creator I really wanted to work with, I have, or let's say any the creator that I always wanted to work with, who wasn't that great to turn out to be that great either. I think the grass isn't greener at the other side. And, and yeah, if you move with intention, you actually do get the opportunities. You know what I mean? But going back to the point, and volume outreach is the worst thing that uh, you could ever get a beginner to do in this specific space online. If you're a growth operator, copywriter, a ghostwriter, stuff like that, and your offer should always be positioned as something new. If they're already doing VSL funnels and it's not working for them, like pitch them a webinar funnel, new thing, right? If they already have emails, don't try to make the emails better. Like if they already have an email list and they're already getting good sales and they like writing, don't pitch. That's an improvement offer. You need a new offer. Daniel Fazio. Watch Daniel Fazio, folks. Shit, I should have watched his videos when I was starting out. I really fucked it up. Uh, Now that I look back to it. But these mistakes, like going back to the whole point, the rationality. Like when you dig deep, you didn't actually make any work. Like the ones, even my YouTube videos. Yeah, I made YouTube videos, but did I try to actually make any changes? Did I try to improve? Then the last one, did I actually try researching and seeing what's relevant and what people are talking about and what's getting good views and how I can optimize my stuff, YouTube, thumbnails, descriptions and stuff like that to get maximum outputs. No, right? I just like was doing manual labor and was trying to feel, you know think as if people should reward me for doing all of it, and I should just get, I'm just entitled to all of this. No, right? Entitlement is only for innovators. I don't think entitlement, yeah, entitlement is a good thing to give you confidence, but And what I've learned, really learned in the business is you need to be an innovator. You need to be innovative with your outreach. You need to be innovative with your services. You need to be innovative with everything because nobody who has just copied shit word for word, ditto, has succeeded in business. And not meaning that you should not copy things, because if something's relevant in the market, it's better to copy that. But actually, like, try put in effort to make yourself stand out. You need a unique selling proposition. And when I started to look my business as the way that I was selling products to others, which is what I learned copywriting for, then I started to grasp the whole essence of the why I was not making any sales. And now that I've realized it, I still feel like I'm so behind, and that's the reason I have lost this motivation, because there's so much to learn and I'm feeling overwhelmed. But I don't know, like, maybe I should take things slow. And I'm in this dilemma that should I make my service more better, or should I just reach out and try to get real time feedback, which I really don't know. That's the dilemma I'm in, because I really don't want to be working with this client for over the next 12 months, and I wouldn't learn anything. Okay, let's talk about, and because I yeah, I do want to work with him, but he feels kind of, entitled to everything, my time. He feels as if he's in control of my time. But I just sometimes, feel like working in his stuff more, and he thinks like I really should be the go-to employee, and he thinks of me that way, which is a really misunderstanding. Whoa. The sentences I spoke in the last 2 minutes have been profoundly retarded, or profoundly retarded. Anyways, let's continue. I don't want to work with this guy. I I mean I do, but I don't want, like, it feels like he's in control of my time, and I really hate that. I really feel annoyed at the fact that he tells me how to do stuff, and he tells me stuff like that. I could just, man up and tell him to not do this way, but I don't want to, crush the cash flow that we're constantly having. And right now we're like launching different stuff, and so meaning like I'm learning a lot of stuff, which is actually really valuable for myself. And I'm just humbling myself from what I heard Alex Ramosi said, because your first few years in business is all about learning, and I'm trying to humble my ego down, but it's really hard, and I really wish I was consistently signing more clients so that I could get above water. Given, as I said, I have my own circumstances, and need money right now here, and I cannot invest in this company's future. Hence, like, I can work with him long term, because this, if I'm pursuing what I'm pursuing, I'd have to cut him off somewhere in between. And if I have to cut him off somewhere in between, um, like, if I don't do that, I wouldn't make a lot of money, because he'd be in control of, or have that freedom, because he'd be in control of my time, and I wouldn't actually scale. And this guy, he now I'm not blaming him, but most business owners are clueless about are clueless about the businesses, and he is as well. And it's really hard to work with people like those, because you're kind of one step ahead, and you're just seeing them catch up to your way of thinking. And it's so painful. It feels like such a waste of time. Now, I would like to talk about Daniel Fazios, one of his, he talked about this in one of his videos, is that, as I said earlier about outreach, right? Okay, you're starting Dream 100 outreach, and let's say you'd have to do 300 of those to actually get your first client. On the way, you're learning, you're studying, you're, trying to make your service better as well, but you're over time giving it less, uh, you're over time putting less effort into it, because, as I said, wouldn't actually know if your service is better unless it's put in the test, right? Put the test. And you outreach, and you're consistently doing good work, free work. You're trying, as I said, like, actually giving things they need, and doing it all for free. It should feel disgustingly valuable for them, which I didn't do. I just half-assed my way there. But over time, Like if you send 200 of those, you'd actually feel more, you'll actually be more, experienced, right? You would have your service, your free stuff would get one, number one, get better if you're consistently learning. Number two, it would get systematized, meaning you can replicate it very easily. The first two, three, four, five would be really hard, but over time you'd get a system to consistently churn out stuff like these. But you also have to consider the fact that, if they do not like this, or nobody's reacting to this, you're just doing something wrong. Or your offer isn't that good, your outreach messaging needs work. But there's a lot of moving parts to a single email or single cold outreach, and it really takes a lot of time to find the one that sticks. But once you do, though, find the optimal selling strategy, it's gonna be easy. But it takes time to reach to that point, and I feel like a lot of people quit right then, and which is where the Daniel Fazio talks about, comes in. You need volume. Okay, let's say you needed 300 outreaches, right? There are two ways to go about this. You either do send 15 outreaches, let's, for example's sake, let's say 10 outreaches a day for 30 days straight, or you could just send one outreach a day for 10 months straight. Now, sending 10 outreaches of those, let's say it takes you 30 minutes of good, valuable content to put out there to make those it takes you 30 minutes, right? One of those outreaches. That's what, 30 minutes, 30 times 10, that's 300 minutes, about 5 hours, right? It's 5 hours worth of work every day for 30 days straight. It sounds painful, right? Painful to do, and you might not have the time to do that, but think about it. If you're sending like one email, or even like three emails a day for 30, what's that? For 100 days straight, that's 3 months. Or if you're sending one email a day, that's 10 months, right? Do you actually think you would not burn out working for this 10 months because you're not seeing any feedback that I personally didn't see for months on end? The reason I didn't see any feedback is that I wasn't doing enough volume, right? If I was doing cold outreach, I needed more volume. I wasn't doing that because I tried to fit in the combine both of the best of the both worlds, which just fucked up the whole thing. Meaning, like, can you be consistent with outreach for 300 days on end without actually landing a single client? How would you actually know that you're, moving forward in whatever you're doing? You wouldn't, because there's no feedback. And the only way you can get a feedback is if you do more. Meaning, you could have had 300 days worth of experience. You could have 300 days worth of experience in 30 days if you ram in the volume. I don't know. The first, the one way outreaching for 300 days seems really hard for me to do instead of outreach out for 30 days straight. That's why, like, monk mode and stuff like those would make sense in this specific part, because once you get your first client, then you can settle down, then the money's coming in, cash flows in, you're actually getting hands-on experience, you're learning something, and you're even actually getting paid for some of this stuff, which would mean your life is pretty good. Life gets pretty good once you've signed a client. But 300 months, 300 days worth of despair, can you actually go through that? I think this is, all of us should realize it. You could just hyperscale your business by putting tons of volume in, and just you could do 2 years worth of work in 3, 4, 5 months if you're consistently, investing your capital and your time and effort in, which is a lot of work in itself. But it's isn't it better than like suffering for 300 days? I had the patience to do that. I don't know how I just was able to survive, but I don't think most of the guys out there would. Just wouldn't have that amount of patience. And I even if they you do and actually get to the point, you would actually hate yourself You feel like so behind. Like, what the fuck did I actually do throughout the whole year, throughout the entire year? It feels like you wasted a lot of your time. It's really painful to not work than to work, if you look at it from that perspective. For like, what would you do? What you would you be doing instead of working? Try to make your service better. How would you know until and unless it's proven by the customer? Until and unless it's what the customer says you. You could get lost in all sorts of stuff like these, and that's why I think like if I had a coach or a course, because I started from scratch, I didn't have anybody telling me all of this stuff that I was, and if you're watching this is really valuable for you, you should implement all of this. I hope this, like, if anybody found this video, it would be really fucking valuable for them. I didn't have any coach, stuff like that. If I didn't have any money to invest in all of this stuff, and I wish I really did. Now that I look back to it, I would have saved up so much of my damn time, and I would have gotten here way already. Like in 3 months, bare minimum, 2 3 months wouldn't require even that long. But this is what experience is, right? And I'm glad that I can use this information to help other people, but and that this video should actually get out. And I'd like to talk about it once again. Think about it. um, you're doing half-ass efforts and you don't even like your life, and you don't like your life, you actually hate it, and you want to do all sorts of stuff. You want to pay off your parents debt, maybe you want to travel the world. And do you really think you would be able to suppress all of those desires and abstain from actually performing the activities that will lead you to get these results for months on end, just because you hate the idea of working right now? You could do 10 a year worth of work in a month. On one scenario, you would just be working for like a dog, 7 8 hours worth of outreach, let's say. For if you can send, if it takes you 20 minutes to send one outreach, that's three outreaches an hour. And if you're outreaching for 6 or 8 hours on end, that's what, 38 to 24, right? You could fasten the process like way ahead. In 10 days, you would hit 240 outreaches, dream 100 types, and you'd really be way ahead. You'd really be way ahead. And you wouldn't even struggle with finding leads and scraping leads because it's easier now. You're just reaching out to content creators you like, dream 100 strategy. That's why this is a better strategy than volume for most businesses out there. Yes, it feels like hell in this scenario. You're working consistently, you're working day in and day out. But think about this scenario. What are you actually doing? Okay, let's say you reach out, do outreach, one outreach or three, one, or let's say you did two outreaches a day, and you needed to get to 240, right? That's 120 days worth of work. You send two outreaches, then if you have a college, if you have stuff like that, if it would make sense. I didn't, and I feel really annoyed at the fact that what the fuck was I actually doing in these all this time. Anyways, like in this scenario, so you're doing two outreaches, 30 minutes, 30 minutes. Let's say it takes you an hour. What else do you do? What else do you do? Like, do you watch courses? Oh, okay, you're definitely gonna make your service better by doing that when you don't even have a feedback to work on, when you don't even know where to apply the courses on. You're busy watching courses, you're busy watching vlogs from successful people and trying to like mental masturbate your way through the entire day when you know deep down that the only thing that needs to be done is outreach. But you try to abstain from it, saying that something else is much more important, which really isn't. Yeah, I had to cook for myself. I didn't have absolute freedom, but I still did have more than what most people did, and I'm really disappointed at the fact that I didn't make the most out of it. And even if I did, I didn't try my not like I did try my best. I wouldn't say I didn't try my best. I did actually, like I tried harder than most people ever will. But I feel like I should have, had these perspectives, asked better questions. I don't know. I can't sit here and regret about all that stuff. But maybe more volume, maybe I don't know, man. Now that I look back to it. If this scenario is way worse, you're sitting there all day, pissed off at yourself, you're reading books, but you're still pissed off at yourself that you're not making any money. And the only way you're actually gonna make money is the only and like there's only one activity that would make you more money, and that's outreach, and you're not even doing that. And you're staying there pissed off. You're doing 1 hour worth of work all day, and you're staying pissed off throughout the entire day. You're reading books, but that's just an escape. Your Once your first service has been minimally viably competent, that meaning that you can do it better than most people on average, you could just start offering them. Okay, you don't have to feel bad about it. I know, like, there are a lot of guys who will make you feel bad about doing that, but fuck them. You need to make money, and you have to sell what's already selling. Market demand and supply. You can sit up here thinking about morals and values, but fuck it. It does not matter until unless you're doing actually bad stuff that you don't want to be doing. You should continue if you have any moral obligations. Oh, sorry, moral objections about business. And think about this: like, you're gonna live that way for 10 months straight, pissed off each and every day. You're gonna become a negative person. You're not gonna have the freedom. You're gonna despise everything. You're gonna be such a shell of a man. Negative, right? But if you had compressed all of this into a month or two, then you start getting real world experience. You're getting more feedback. You'll actually love your life even more, and you'd hate your life in this scenario. So whenever I hear somebody, trashing on monk mode, they're not considering this fact. And I know both of those. You can't continue working like this for years on end. I know about that all. Though you don't have to teach me, but I'm just giving you perspective on how things could be. You could just do 10 months of worth of work in a month, or a quarter's worth of work in a month, and nothing would change. This life would be bad. This is already pretty bad in itself. Like, why? What's the reason to not do this? And I think like this has started to motivate, motivate. My accent's getting weirder by the day. But at the end, I still have to take action, and I still feel lazy like all of you guys. Like, if you're feeling lazy to reach out, and if you're consistently procrastinating, don't I feel the same as well. If you're just starting out, and even making $500 would mean a lot to you, then just you have to be willing to burn. Know what I mean? It's been hell. This year in business had was hell. Still, we made progress, and the probably this year would be even more hell if I'm actually start to implement what I learned through the entire year. If I start doing mass volume, I know I would be very better, like far off by the end of the year, better off than I started. But you have to fight the demon in your head. Like, I don't that does not actually exist, but you know what I mean, metaphorically. And that's the part, and that's the hard part. This is what's making me feel overwhelmed. There are a lot of levers to pull, and there are lot of things that I could be doing, and I'm just too clueless and got no way forward. And the space I'm in, copywriting, growth operating for info businesses, I think People, I hear a lot of guys talking about that is sophisticating, that is saturating, and AI is taking over and stuff like that. And yeah, of course, rationally it wouldn't make any sense, and you need to believe in yourself. But market sophistication is still a thing, and you need to take into consideration these facts. I don't know, and these like stuff like these are making me feel even more hopeless. Saying that feeling like, even if I put all this effort in, would this really make me help me do something? I don't know. I recently heard from Hormozy that it's better to do something than nothing, right? You need to be moving forward. Staying stagnant is the best way to kill yourself in business. And right now I've been stagnant. I don't know what decision, like what where should I choose. But if I do not move and make decisions ASAP, because if you make decisions and move forward, you're gonna learn something if you fail at it, given that you fail. But what if it works out, right? And I think like that is the concept I'm trying to grasp right now. What if it works out? What works out? But still, like even if all of this rationally does not make sense, you're still an emotional creature, and this will affect you somehow. And that is the fact I think most of us don't acknowledge, that we think of ourselves as superheroes, but when shit comes, like shit hits the fan, when we're still doing the our biological what our biological monkey brain tells us to do. I don't know. I think it's time again for me to start outreaching massively and trying to deliver best value and implement and use what I learned to the best of its ability. Because if I would learn, yes, but I could put in again a lot of effort and still not make money. But I'd rather have these experiences than just sit here and watch movie TV series, which I could later down in my years, probably when I'm old. I could just watch them when I was old. Like, why would I waste time watching those? And maybe, watching all of these bullshit courses isn't actually valuable at all. And like reading books, maybe that isn't valuable at all, and I just need to be uh, think of what's here and now at this moment and just solve that problem and just have life experiences. Hey, like, I outreach for 10, 12 hours a day. I gave my all to it, but I still didn't succeed. And I managed to do that for years and months on end. Look at me, I'm so great, right? You'd feel at least proud, I guess, of yourself. Yeah, when you're in the thick of it and sending out really, it would feel like shit, but your life's already shit anyways. How would it make any difference? How would you make it any less shit? The only way to make it any less shit is to make more money. And if you're not doing things that you're not making money, like if you're just distracting yourself by watching porn or movies or TV series, anime and stuff like that, and scrolling on reels, you're just escaping, and your dream life would be even more farther and farther and farther. Is this really fun? I've started to question stuff like these, and I still have to get into a conclusion. I hope it does not get too late till I make decision. I need to move forward. I need to move fast. I need to move with intention. I need more speed in my life. I don't know how I'm going to do that, but hopefully, hopefully, not hopefully, I just have to believe in myself. I think I just have to reignite what the fire that I had when I was starting out. And that happened when I was like 1 month, 2 months in. I was so obsessed with the process. I was so driven, locked in. And I really like that. I want to replicate a version of that. I'll see how I can do that, but this is what I've been feeling at the moment, and this is what my analysis of it is. I hope somewhere along the lines, somewhere in your life when you're watching this, I hope this would be actually a lot more valuable than bullshit stuff like how to get clients. I think I've given more sauce out here than my entire like years, months. You could probably save months of your life if you implemented what if you take into consideration the fact that I said, because these are my mistakes, my personal mistakes. These are shit that didn't work out. I don't know what works. Yeah, you could probably save you a lot of time, but nobody knows what works because that's subjective. But I know what does not work. Don't make my mistake. I'll see you guys in the next one. Day 371 over and fucking out.